While editing the last video I filmed for you guys, I couldn't help but notice how disarrayed my amplifier setup looked. I mean, I have wires and cables hanging everywhere, so it's time for me to pull all this stuff out of here and do something about it. The plan is to build some type of amplifier rack that has some type of appealing aesthetics to it. And even though I'm someone who focuses more on the results of a project than the way that it looks, there's a part of me that believes that a system should look just as good as it sounds. And I must admit, this system sounds pretty good, and building an amplifier rack would definitely complement that sound. But then I thought about it. Fixing this dilemma actually creates a new one for me. When I pull everything out of the car, I won't have bass, so what am I to do then? Ironically enough, the people over at ATOTO actually reached out to me and had 3 products that they wanted me to debut here on the channel. And one of those products just so happened to be an underseat subwoofer. But I must be honest with you guys, I never was a believer in all-in-one active powered subwoofer units. These things are just too small, in my opinion, to give any impression that's worth talking about. But you can't deny the fact or overlook the fact that the market is still flooded with these type of enclosures, so there must be something to them, right? Well, in this video, that's exactly what I plan to find out. So I'm going to take the one from ATOTO, they sent this over here to me, and I'm going to install it in the Impala. This is my first time ever installing something like this. I don't even know what to expect from this, and you guys get to see my reaction of it in real time. So hang in there with me as I unbox, install, and test this thing in my Chevy Impala. I'm in the process of a new install. As you guys can see, that's the Smart 8 base by TORO amps. And I got everything disconnected. And I'm going to be installing this little guy. This is an under seat enclosure. 10-inch woofer, rated at around 300 watts RMS, I believe. So I need some bass while I get these things here situated. I'm building an amp rack for them. So until I can get all this situated, I need some bass. And that's why I'm going to be doing this guy right here. 150 watts RMS with amplifier on board. There's a couple of things about this subwoofer that I did not initially notice. Be sure to stick around to the end when we open it up and take a look inside. I think you guys will get a kick out of it. Okay, so we have a few things we got to go over here. For one, the amplifier, right? The amplifier comes with a few cables. This is the power cable, right? So it has a ring terminal right here. That ring terminal is going to go to like whatever your power source is. And then on the other end of this, it has this style connector here. This style connector, this end right here is going to go to actually the harness. I'm going to show you that in a minute. And then there's an inline fuse right here. All right, so this is the actual signal wire, the remote turn on wire. Pretty much the same style connector as this one right here. Show y'all what those connect to. All right, this is the harness. Okay, so the harness actually connects into the amplifier of this subwoofer enclosure. This style connector is usually data, right? It takes in everything. So these 4 over here plus that one in the middle, as you guys can see, the one in the middle is the blue. That's your remote turn on. These right here are actually going to be speaker wires. Okay, so you can use a high level from the speaker, straight from the speaker into this unit right here, and it should be able to process it. But I'm not going to be using those. Okay, this right here is your power, and this right here is your ground. Your ground also has a ring terminal on it, but it's directly connected to here. All right, so bringing the power cable back in, this one right here, you can see on the harness, this is the male connector right here. That's the male and that's the female. Common sense, right? That one goes into there. Same thing over here. And over here, coming from my Amp Pro up front, which is going to be remotely turning this thing on after it turns on, you have the female connector. And once we connect all those, once we connect these two, you know, that thing should power on. Okay, so right now this is my lithium bank that I have. This is 64 amp hours of lithium. I'm just going to remove one of those screws over there and connect my positive and my negative to one of these. Okay, this is my positive lead right here, and this is my ground lead, grounded to the chassis of the car. So directly connecting them to the battery should give it the best power option. As you guys can see, that's one, that's two connections. That's the negative, of course, and that's the positive. All right, so I'm not sure as to why this male connector don't have the rubber on it like this one. See how that's insulated? That's to protect, right? But it doesn't have it here. But I'm just gonna put some tape on it. But the way it goes in, the way it goes in is like this, and just push it. You gotta push this like that till it clicks. I don't know if you guys heard that or not, but you wanna make sure that that male connector is seated in that female completely, all right? Just like that. We're gonna do the same thing with the remote turn-on wire. But for right now, we need to check this and make sure we got voltage. This is not going to be any higher than 20 volts. So we're going to put it on a 20 volt setting. And that's what my lithium pack reads at rest, around 13.2. Okay, so now that we have power to this connector right here, to the harness, what we want to do now is make sure that our remote turn on works. Just like that. You want to hear that click. This is signal from the Amp Pro as well. This is where you're going to get your actual signal from, because we're not using these high level inputs right here from the speaker. We're going to be using low level input. And it actually, this device actually takes both. I almost forgot about this bare positive right here. You want to get this thing covered up. So I'm going to put some electrical tape on this before I get everything started up. All right, so here we are, and this will be just me connecting this to where it goes, which is right here, just like that. Remember, the remote, this blue wire is the remote turn on, so it should come on. It should signal this to come on whenever my Amp Pro up front receives signal. So let me go hit the auxiliary switch, and we'll see if this comes on or not. And there we are. And as you guys can see, we have power now. Right now I want to see if it actually making sound, right? So this is input. Put it on channel 1. Well, let me make sure that the gains are down first. I don't want this thing blasting. Look at that, that gain was turned all the way up. Wow, who would do that? Let's turn all this stuff down. Why it's set like that, I don't know. The gain and everything is maxed out from the factory. That's not good. Glad I thought to do that. That would have blasted my ears. Okay, let's look at channel 1 for input. All right, so let me show you guys what I've done here. Get you off this tripod. All right, as you guys can see, the seat is up. That's why it's so dark in there, because I let the seat up. We simply want to see what this little guy can do, what it sounds like. I got the volume about 3/4 up front. All right, so let's look at this. We do have power. This is all the way down. I'm gonna turn it off. I'm gonna turn it up and let you guys listen to it. See if y'all can get a speaker flex out of it. Wow. It's kind of hard to see the driver in there. It's a 10-inch. Okay. Okay, so what I just did, originally I had the crossover all the way down to 50 hertz. I reset it, I got it wide open. So there is no low pass filter anymore, okay? It's wide open. The gains, wide open. Bass boost is off, okay? So let's see what it does now that it can get all frequencies it was meant to play. Right now it's on the minimum. I'm just gonna max it out. My stereo is, EQ is on flat. That's different. That's different. Oh yeah, that's different. I don't want it to go into protect though. I definitely have to set the gains on it because I do hear it distorting when I turn it up too much. Okay, I just restarted the song. I want you guys to see the difference of it being out of here and inside the trunk. Let's turn it back up. Big difference. You wouldn't even think that was the same thing. That is ridiculous. I never thought that would make such a big difference. Just having this little guy in there, opposed from it being, you know what I'm saying? So I wonder what it's gonna sound like under the seat. That's what it's designed for. Wow. You guys gotta admit that's different. A little sealed tin. Look at this little pocket. Look at this. I'm gonna sit it in there and see what it sounds like. I can tell you right now, just those drum kicks sound good. What is it gonna do when the bass drop? Wow, that's a fun little speaker, man. I think it sounds better inside the trunk, just like that. I'm ready to put it under the seat now and see what it sounds like. All right, guys. So right now we're in the front seat, and what we're doing now, we're gonna try to do a sound test. Right now, keep in mind that this is a single under the seat slim 10-inch woofer. Okay, this type of woofer was not meant to shake the entire car. What it was meant to do was to fill in whatever bass that you may be lacking in your car. Now, in the case of the 2018's Impalas, we actually have 6x9s in the doors, okay? That's our front stage. They are component speakers. You have 6x9 woofers. I would consider them subwoofers, but I'm gonna say woofer for the sake of the video and argument, right? You have 6x9 woofers in the doors, and you have I believe a 2.5 or 3.5 inch full range speaker on the dash there. So that gives you voice and treble. This right here gives you pretty much a mid to low end for the door. So they sound pretty good. You really don't need, in my opinion, you don't need a setup like what I have now, unless your car came with, you know, some speakers like some 5.5s in the front that don't put out a lot of bass at all. These are dedicated woofers for bass only. Okay, so they do pretty good. I'm gonna give you guys a sound test of them with and without the subwoofer on their seat playing. All right. However, in the rear stage of the 2018 Chevy Impala actually have 6.5s back there, and they don't do bass well at all. All right, so I'm gonna play the same song I've been playing. This is from Epidemic Sounds, in case you guys want to go and check out that track. First thing first, my EQ level. If I go to tone settings here, tone settings, You guys will see that's a flat response, okay? Everything is in the middle. My fader, which is over here, is centered, okay? So that means both front and rear stage is playing, left and right both are playing, okay? So let's get this going. Put some headphones on and be able to actually hear the bass at moderate volume. It should sound really, really good to y'all.
And I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Ain't on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so I need you. Baby girl love my vibe and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Ain't on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so I need you. Big flex, my swollen.
Okay, so that kind of gives you an example of what this thing sounds like with stock, okay? This is no assistance from the subwoofer at all that's underneath my seat right now. Now we're going to play this with this thing here, and I got the bass knob up here with me, and I'm going to play the same track and let you guys see what the differences is.
And my babe see through. Ain't on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so I need you. Baby girl love my vibe and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Ain't on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so I need you. Big flex, my swollen. Double cup and I'm pulled up.
All right, so as you guys can tell, or maybe you cannot tell, that I did have it on. Now I'm going to play it while fluctuating in between the minimum or really off and like midway. I'm going to let you guys see that, okay? See if you can tell the difference or not. I'm going to try to keep this thing in the center, the camera in the center, so you guys can get, even coverage of volume. So let me adjust this. So let me go ahead and...
Baby girl love my vibe and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Ain't on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so I need you. Baby girl love my vibe and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Ain't on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so I need you. Big flex, my swollen, double cup and I'm pulled up.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys my opinion of what's going on here. Okay, so right off the bat, as you guys can tell, I can't really hear. I can't hear with my ears much of a difference when having this in, having this thing turned on. Because I think what's going on is that my car has a premium sound system already in it. The front stage have 6x9-inch woofers. So 2 6x9s trumps 110, in my opinion, because of surface area. And this is a slim design. It doesn't have like this subwoofer. I keep saying so. This 6x9 is using the whole entire door as a cabin. Okay, so it resonates sound very, very well. And I have 2 of them. And that's a lot of air that it has to play with. Whereas under the seat, the little slim subwoofer doesn't have all that. You see, despite it being a 10-inch woofer, it doesn't have, all this to work with. Okay, and another thing to point out, you got to point these things out. Another thing to point out is the power handling. These things here sounds more sensitive than the one that's underneath, meaning that with the power that they're given, that they're supplied, they make sound very, very well. and the one under the seat, you know, not so much. It cannot compete with the 6x9s. But let me show you in what case scenario that this would be an amazing tool. Let me turn this back down, and forgive me for this bright light on here. I should have put some tape on that. Let me turn this back down, and this is what I'm gonna do for y'all. Let's get the song restarted. I'm gonna go into my tone settings again, and I'm gonna take the front stage out of this. Cause 6x9s, I mean, why would you need an underseat subwoofer with 6x9s such as what this Impala has, right? So if I take those 6x9s out of the equation, and I'm only dealing with those little, you know, little factory 6.5s back there, let's see what this sounds like.
Baby girl love my bop and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Ain't on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so I need you. Baby girl love my bop and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Ain't on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so I need you.
Now you guys are understanding where I'm coming from this. The 6.5s don't have the bass that the 6x9s have. So if you're in a car that has 6.5s up here, stock factory 6.5s, or something smaller like 4s or some 5 1/4s or something, you're not gonna get the bass that these things are putting out. These component 6x9s are putting out a lot of bass. You may not need this subwoofer, but this is the thing. If your car comes with these little 6.5-inch subs or speakers, and you getting a response like what I just had, then you may want a solution like this. You guys are the ones who this type of product is marketed to. So let's see what it sounds like when you use an underseat sub with some little crappy 6.5s. Let's get this restarted and let's play.
Baby girl love my bop and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Ain't on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so I need you. Baby girl love my bop and I like me too. No roof on my top and my babe see through. Ain't on the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so I need you. Big flex, my...
There you go. Major difference. That's a night and day difference, because that sub is not competing with the 6x9s in the doors. They are filling in the bass that is lacking by the little 6.5s back here in the rear. And that is exactly what it was designed to do. That's what this product was designed to do.
On the pen, don't stop, shit ain't gon' feed you. I've been all on my grind, so I need you. Baby girl, look.
Man, I wish that my 6.5s, I wish my 6.5s back there sounded like that on their own. That sounds really, really good with the underseat woofer in there. So if you're like someone that's like, you know, if you don't have a lot of space for like a big box or something, you just want to fill in your bass, you know, this would be a great solution for you. Plus, and this is an added bonus, this thing it shakes my seat like crazy. It reminds me of those movie theater little bass shakers you can put like on your couch. So when you're watching movies in your house, it's like you're shaking the whole couch. It's like that's the experience I get with this thing under my seat. Let me know in the comment sections below what you guys think about this. Is this a product you've seen before, or is this something that is not even on your radar? You don't think it's meant for you or whatever. Okay, so for all of you guys who stuck with me to the end of the video, here's the bonus footage I promise you guys. As you guys can see, the ATOTO under the seat subwoofer, actually has great construction here. This is an all aluminum chassis, and this thing is a lot heavier than it looks. It's built a lot sturdier than it looks. Right now, what I'm going to do is just remove these 6 screws from the bottom of it, and once they are removed, you will be able to pop the lid off, or so I thought. If you guys will pay attention, there is an indentation that you can make right here underneath the sticker. And the reason that I found this out is because I couldn't get the lid off. And a lot of times, the issue is that there's a screw somewhere that's been covered up, in this case, a sticker. I learned this from my previous profession as a computer technician, where we had to disassemble a lot of computers, and this would be the case. Some of the screws will be hidden underneath stickers and stuff, but make quick work of that. All you gotta do is heat the sticker up, that get the adhesive a bit more loose, and then you can go ahead and pull it off. Once again, remove this final screw, and please take note that this screw is a little bit different from the other screws. All right, so popping the lid on this thing, you can tell that they did put a little bit of sound treatment on the inside of it. Been a sealed enclosure, this is standard. But I did notice at the bottom of this, if you guys can tell from the outside, I didn't know what this was when I first initially unboxed it. But apparently it's a passive radiator, and no, I don't know the tuning of this thing. But being there, it must add in response in some way. And here's the board. The amplifier board is a very basic board. I mean, this thing is only rated for 150 watts RMS, so you don't have a whole lot of components here. But what I was shocked at seeing was the fact that the subwoofer wire is actually soldered to the board. I wasn't expecting it. I was hoping for a connector of some type where I can just pull it off and be able to work with the unit in 2 different parts, but this thing is soldered to the board. So once again, if you purchase this unit, just be careful when taking the lid off, because you could potentially snatch it right off the board. Okay, so here's the subwoofer itself. My first impressions was that, wow, this thing is very, very slim built, and I don't think I've seen many subwoofers this flat before. It also looked a bit small to me, to be honest with you. I didn't think it was a true 10-inch woofer once, getting it out and touching it and getting the first feel for it. But look how shallow this thing is. The mounting depth is only around 1 3/4 inches. That's from the bottom of the magnet to the bottom of the flange. And overall, from bottom of magnet to the top of the surround is actually a little bit over 2 inches. So this thing is very, very shallow. And as you guys can see, from bolt to bolt, or eye bolt to eye bolt, is around 9 inches. That'll be your max diameter. With it being octagon shape, you have to take these 2 different measurements. And your minimum diameter would be around 8 3/4 inches. So very unique looking driver they have on the inside of this thing. And of course, the cutout is what's most important if you're trying to or planning to do a replacement for this subwoofer. You need to know what these measurements are, and this is around 8 1/4 inches for the cutout. Thanks for visiting the channel to help you simplify car audio. It's the Budget Basshead, and I'm out.